How's it going, Ghostlings? My name is Ghostonic, and welcome back to D&D class, where we talk everything D&D. Today we're going to be finishing up our character creation series with the backstory and story of our character, what they look like, where they come from, why they're adventuring, what they were doing prior to that, all the story-based elements of our character. So this is the part of character creation where we can really get creative. This is where we come up with our character's name, their personality traits, ideals, bonds, flaws, their general appearance, so their height, weight, eye color, skin color, age, any defining features they have, what they wear, what they commonly look like when they're not, in disguise or something. Any allies and organizations they're a part of. This could be people that help out and that you have resources through, or it could just be something backstory related that really just kind of comes up in discussion and story, but doesn't really add any mechanics. You've got your backstory, this is where your character comes from and where they're planning on going and why. Your character may come from destitution and want to amass riches for themselves, so you have your backstory lined up where, okay, this is where my character comes from and this is where they want to be and this is how they plan to. You've got your additional features and traits. This is, some extra flavor text stuff. Is your character half blind because they took an injury to the eye? Do they have special colored hair because they were born under some sort of magic, and so this was taken as a symbol by their people that they were destined for greatness, things like that. Just any additional features and traits that you want to explain more or that add more to your character's backstory or something like that. Or add new mechanics even. And then treasures. Just whatever treasures your character may have that they've accrued prior to the story that your DM is okay with. Or even, you could use this as a spot where you write down the treasures you get from current adventures, or both. It's just the items, the special items that you get throughout your past adventures and your current adventures. Now, you may be hearing all this and thinking to yourself, man, I'm not good at stories. I struggle with coming up with how my characters are supposed to look or act or where they come from. And you're not alone. I've heard that from a lot of different people. A lot of people struggle with that part of it. Some people excel with the mechanical side of things and struggle with the creative side of things, and that's okay. Everyone has their different strengths and weaknesses in the game. Luckily, the D&D books have a lot of information to help you with this part. The Player's Handbook and a lot of the supplemental books have information about races and classes to help you kind of guide where your character is going. For example, Dragonborns. When naming your Dragonborn, it's common that a Dragonborn would use their clan name as their first name because it's a point of honor, and then they would use their given name second. Kind of if like we were to use our last name first and our first name last. That's common for Dragonborns. They'll use their clan name and then their given name. Or the books will have suggestions for you. Each of the background options in the book has a set of suggestions for the personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws boxes that you can take from, adapt, roll for if you want it to be randomized. They have suggestions for all those things to help inspire you to create your character and start looking at, okay, I want my character to be like this, but not like this, and kind of mix and match and start to piece things together. So if you struggle with the story portion of things, don't worry. You can look online or look in the books, and they've got all sorts of information for you for making your character's story. For our character here, we're going to start with our character's name and with their character art, which is their appearance, their design, what they wear, what they look like, things like that. So, like I said, Dragonborns typically use their clan name first and then their first name. So we are going to use the name Hrothgrin Thorol. Like I said, Hrothgrin would be the clan name, and then Thorol would be their given name. That's, like I said, how Dragonborns typically do it. There's no reason I chose this name. I thought it sounded neat, and it kind of gives off what I imagine a Dragonborn might sound like. A lot of kind of breathy sounds, with the elemental breathing and things like that. So now we're going to start filling out the information for what our character looks like. Their age, height, weight, eye color, skin color, general appearance, all sorts of things like that. Like I said, the D&D books have a lot of information for what is typical of the different races. So, Dragonborns, as an example, age very quickly. They live to about 80 typically, but they reach adulthood by about 15. So we're going to say, let's see, we're going to have our Dragonborn be a little bit younger, not super young, but if they reach adulthood by 15, we'll say that they're something around, so if 15 equals out to about 18 for us, we'll say that they're 18 years old, which should come to somewhere in the 20s. They're taller and heavier than humans on average, reaching usually over 6 foot and averaging about 250 pounds. I want our guy to be tall, but a little bit light on the lighter end. So we're going to say he is 6 foot, we'll say 6 foot, oh, hold on, wrong button. 6'2", and we'll say about 220 pounds. Now keep in mind, this is all just information. It's all story. All the races have a size that determines, things like their carry weight, their push weight, their drag weight, things like that. Dragonborns are considered a medium-sized creature. Most of the player races are medium. So that's what's going to affect our carry weight, our push weight, drag weight, all that stuff. The height and weight are just flavor text. For eye color, so our character is a silver Dragonborn. I want something to kind of contrast that, so I'm going to say his eyes are red. And like I said, he's a silver Dragonborn, so that gives us our information right off the bat that he has silver scales. I'm going to say that his scales are silver with black outer lines. That gives our character a little bit of contrast. So far we've got a fairly decent sized Dragonborn with red eyes and silver scales with black lines around them. Dragonborns are reptilian, they don't have hair, so instead of hair we're going to go with our horns. Let's see, we're going to say that he has just back-facing curved horns. Oh. So that gives us our general starting point for character appearance. So for some reason my character appearance box won't let me type in it, so we're going to put the rest of our character's design here in the additional features and traits and just kind of double down. So we've got kind of the general idea of our character. We have a very broad idea of what they look like. So here we're going to put a little bit more detail into it. Like I said, red eyes, silver scales with black lines. Don't really need more details there. Don't even really need more details with the horns. We're going into more so the general appearance of our character, what they typically look like, how clean they are, how they present themselves. So like I said, our character is tall, but a little bit more lightweight for Dragonborns. I picture as a bard, he's probably a little bit more lithe and kind of lanky. So we're going to say he is, he's got a small frame, not weak, but not especially muscular. He is a bard, and I think that bards typically, they want to put on a good appearance for people. They want to impress people. So we're going to say he's usually fairly clean and well kept. He keeps a good appearance. He is groomed. He is hygienic. He wants people to like him, and he wants to be someone that people look at and go, oh hey, that's someone important. His clothes, we're going to say, are nicer. Not necessarily rich clothing, but good quality. And bright colors. He is a bard that's proficient at instruments, so he always has his instruments at his side. Oops, I could type right. An added thing. As a Dragonborn, he's got scales on his feet. His feet are very tough. We're going to say that he's typically barefoot. That'll add maybe something that different peoples in the different villages and towns and things like that will notice and might have different reactions to. Dragonborns may not be something that people are commonly seeing out in the world. So maybe they see a Dragonborn and they're mystified by, oh, he's walking around barefoot. He's got scales. He's huge. You know, things like that. And that pretty well covers what our character looks like. Any additional features and traits, we'll say, oh yes, Dragonborns. You have the option to have a tail. So Dragonborns can have tails. There are some stories where they may not, and in some cases it's considered a deformity, but we are going to give our character a tail. It's just going to be a basic tail. And this will set him apart from the other Dragonborn. Maybe that's why he wanted to become a bard, is to take attention away from the fact that he is the only Dragonborn with a tail. That could be something that adds a little bit of roleplay possibilities for the character as they maybe come home to check in on everyone. You know, they're looked at as lesser than because they have a tail or something like that. So that adds some more flavor text and possibility to our character. We always want to leave it a little bit more open-ended so that the DM can kind of work with things and guide the story and have something that acts as a motivator for other characters. So now we're going to get into our character's backstory. This is the groups they're a part of, where they come from, why they're adventuring, what their goals are in life. All those sorts of things that lead us to where we are with our current adventuring party. So allies and organizations. As I said, Hrothgrin is part of the Hrothgrin clan. This is a Dragonborn clan. We're going to say that they are, we're going to say that they're from a plains area. And let's see. We're going to say that typically they are a very serious clan in their demeanor. This gives a good contrast to the bard. It may be a little bit more cliche, but for this character, that's fine. It works to give more story to the character. You know, if they come from a very serious clan that takes everything just, you know, very sternly, very seriously, it'll give good reason for Hrothgrin, who is a young adult, to want to leave and explore on his own, especially as one who is looked down on. And then he's a bard. So we're going to say he comes from a group of bards. Let's see. We're going to say he's from the Bards Guild. This is an organization that helps bards find work. It's stationed in the large city of the large city of the area. And he is, we're going to say he's kind of middle of the road there. He's not, you know, high station. He's not low station. He's a pretty average level individual there. And then over here in this box, you can, you know, you could draw or import a picture of the symbols of the groups or group. You can add extra names, you know, whatever you want to do there. For this character, the Hrothgrin clan and the Bards Guild, name enough. Don't really need symbols. We can deal with that at a later point if we need to. But this is their groups and organizations that help them, or they have a sore relationship with, or any sort of affiliation they have. Next, we're going to come to our character's backstory. As I said, the clan is a very serious clan, so and they are very hardworking and stern. He was, like I said, born with a tail and looked down on because of it. Like I said, Dragonborns with tails in a lot of places are seen as having a deformation. So we're going to say that he's looked down on because of it. So we have, due to his tail and the nature of his clan, he turned to performance to make himself known for something and set himself apart. That's, you know, a pretty good cause to effect kind of situation. And he left the clan to adventure and find fame outside of and so he left the clan to adventure and find fame in the outside world. He wanted to make a name for himself, and so he left his clan. That was very serious, and he wasn't going to get any positive attention from them. He left and began adventuring. Eventually, he found the Bards Guild and began working and perfecting his arts. So this is where we start out. As a DM, personally, that's what I would start out with. When I'm opening up with Session 0, I would start out with, okay, we come to the Bards Guild in the largest city in the kingdom. We see a tall, thin-built dragonborn with silver scales and black lines working and looking at the job board to see what bardic needs are needing completed in the area. And that's where we would meet Hrothgrin, and that's where his part in the story for the campaign would begin. So now we have our character's backstory. So this is going to kind of lead into what our character is like, their personality traits, things like that. Him wanting to be a star would be something that would affect how he views the world and how he acts in relation to different events and things that happen to the party. So next we're coming to the boxes for personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. This is something that really kind of just gives you notes on how your character would act. It's something that you can glance at quickly and say, oh, right, yeah, so I need to remember to do that or act this way. Personality traits, it's just little flavor text stuff that, quirks that your character may have. Like I said, all the backgrounds in the books have suggestions for how a character of that background would act. In the entertainer background, which is the background that Hrothgrin is. Personality trait, an example from the book would be, I know a story relevant to almost every situation, or I love a good insult, even one directed at me. Ideals, it's what your character idealizes, what they believe of life. And this would go along a little bit with your alignment. So a good character, beauty. When I perform, I make the world a better place than it was prior. That would be, you have the good alignment. Someone with an evil alignment may idealize greed. I'm only in it for money and fame. This is just what your character sees as the end goal, the ultimate thing that they're striving for. Bonds. What things are your character attached to? Someone stole my precious instrument, and someday I'll get it back. You know, their quest is to get their instrument back. Or I will do anything to prove myself superior to my hated rival. Those are the suggested bonds for the entertainer, or two of them anyways. It's what binds your character to the quest, to their party, to what they're trying to do. And flaws, this is pretty self-explanatory. What flaws does your character have? Again, the book suggestion, I'm a sucker for a pretty face, or despite my best efforts, I am unreliable to my friends. You don't have to use any of these. You don't have to use any of the stuff in the book. These are just suggestions for how you can guide your character. And there are options for if you want to use them. If you just don't want to come up with anything, you could use these and it would work fine for you. It's just really up to your own preferences and your own choice. For our character, I'm going to write my own, and we're going to go from there. So here I've gone ahead and filled out our boxes for our character's personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. Personality. He's always jovial and avoids seriousness. He's always looking to tell a story, sing, or joke around. He's frequently practicing his instruments, which is the only time that he does get serious. His ideal is honor. He's out to try to prove himself to his clan and make them proud of him, regardless of their views of him. His honor is really, when you get down to it, the only thing that he focuses on, that drives him. His bonds. The Bard's Guild that took him in. Where his clan kind of rejected him, the Bard's Guild accepted him, and so he feels indebted to them and like they're his family. Performance. His arts. He obviously has a strong connection to the arts because that's what gave him his escape. And his tale. You know, the thing that separated him from the rest of his clan is the thing that he is connected to, and that is a part of him. He has made it his identity. And then his flaws. He doesn't know when to get serious, he has trouble focusing, and he's nervous around other Dragonborns. Now I have a slight note there that, and this is kind of what I was talking about earlier with flavor text that can change game mechanics. I could use that and talk to my DM using this character and say, hey, my character is nervous around Dragonborns. Could we say that this gives him disadvantage to charisma checks regarding other Dragonborns? Does that help me at all? No, but it adds an interesting mechanic to the game that allows for more storytelling. Your character doesn't always have to be great at everything. Being bad at stuff and having things that hinder them can help the story progress and make it more interesting and more fun for you, the party, the DM, everyone. And so I would, in this case, talk to my DM and see if that's a possibility. But yeah, that is the personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. That's kind of the idea you're looking for. It's a starting point for how your character would act that you can go back and reference. And with that, our character Hrothgrin Thorol is completed. We are a level 3 Bard of the School of Swords. We have the Entertainer background, we're a Dragonborn, and we're neutral good alignment. We've got all our personality traits here. We've got all of our stats. He's pretty dexterous, and he's incredibly charismatic, but in all other ways he's, subpar. We've got all our items, our abilities, our proficiencies. We've got our story. He's from a very serious Dragonborn clan, the Hrothgrin clan, and he was shunned because of his tale and because of his jovial nature. He left to try to find a name for himself and joined the Bard's Guild for work, and that is where the story picks up for him. He is a tall but slender Dragonborn with red eyes, silver scales with black outer lines, and back-facing curved horns, and he is a young adult. And he is a magic caster. We've got all our magics chosen for level 3, what we can cast, and what we can do with them. And that completes Hrothgrin Thorol. Like I said earlier, character design and character backstory are really where you can get the most creative. But all parts of your character are meant to come together to flesh out and really develop a character that you can play. Even the mechanical choices you make. I didn't say it earlier, but my character Hrothgrin, being a Bard of the School of Swords, even makes sense for him. He comes from a very serious clan. This clan of Dragonborns would be very focused on maintaining order and protecting the clan and keeping outsiders from disrupting. And so they would have training, a lot of training in, combat arts and defense and things like that. And so he may naturally be inclined to go to what he knows, which is swords, and he may be very good at it without even trying, at least comparatively to other people. So choosing the School of Swords makes sense given his backstory. All parts of your character, mechanical or creative, are meant to come together to make a character that you can play in roleplay settings, mechanical, all of it. And don't be afraid to talk to your DM or the other players. They may have ideas that help you in your character development, or your DM may say, well, that may not work for this story, but let's tweak it and make it work in this way. There are a lot of things you can do in communicating with your party and your DM to help develop your character. And at the end of the day, it's about making a character you can have fun with and love playing in some capacity. Do they need to fit into the story? Yes. Should you make them so that their character makes sense? Yes. But at the end of the day, the important thing is you have a character you have fun with and enjoy playing throughout the entirety of the campaign, whether it's a one-shot or a long story. And that is the important thing. And that is what your DM and your party should be a part of doing, is making sure that you enjoy playing your character, not only as yourself, but with the other players. You're building these relationships between characters and between the individuals in the world to create a story. And with that, our character creation is done. We're going to use Hrothgrin for any other future explanation videos. You know, if we go over how to do combat, we'll use Hrothgrin in that, or in roleplay scenarios or things like that. We'll see him again, is what I'm saying. But with that in mind, tell me in the comments what kinds of information you want me to cover, or what kind of discussions you want to have in regards to D&D. Do you want to go over how turns in combat work, how to roleplay using magics, different things like that? Tell me what you guys want to discuss in the comments below. If you liked everything here, be sure to check out the YouTube, Twitch, Discord, TikTok. Check out all the places so you don't miss any news, content, update, changes, anything like that. I've had a lot of fun making this D&D series. I want to keep it going, so stick around for that. As always, if you liked what you saw, be sure to share with your friends, share with your family, share with your neighbors, and share with the king in the current campaign you're running. If you're in a campaign right now, share with the king in that world, or the main leader that you're dealing with. He's busy running whatever country or town or whatever he's running, so, you know, he's got a lot on his plate. Share with him. As always, thank you all for being here. I greatly appreciate it. Have a great night, great week, great day, great everything, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, Ghostlings.